Hello, and welcome to the kickoff of Ryan Murphy Revisited. Although saying revisited is weird because this man haunts me. This man is always by my side. He's over there somewhere. Not really. It feels like that. He's always constantly in my life. And someday I will interview him, and it might be a contentious interview. I don't know. It's going to happen someday. It'll be very interesting because I cannot give up his shows. It's like a drug or something. I don't know. But I'm excited for this one because we are kicking off Ryan Murphy Revisited with a look at Ratched, which stars the amazing, lovely, wonderful man that we have never, ever, ever mentioned on this show, ever, Finn Wittrock. We don't have actual merchandise to celebrate Finn Wittrock, which will give some away. Called It's a Findom Thing. You can go and grab that on our Redbubble store, and I will show you what those look like. And someone did buy like a bunch of these, and they look so good. Like the coffee cup looks amazing. I am sad to say I don't own any of this stuff yet, which I guess maybe I'm not a true Finn Wittrock fan. That's not true. I don't think you can ever say that about me. So this is our It's a Findom Thing. So you can pick that up in our Redbubble store, or you can try and win a sticker. You can get them on t-shirts, mugs, hats. I'm trying to think of all the things. You could get an acrylic plaque thing. I don't know what they're called. You can get anything. And Finn Wittrock, if you would like one of these, I would give you one for free. Or you can go buy one. Show off how much you love yourself. Don't be ashamed. Show it off. Hey, you know, we should all love ourselves. Okay, so I'm going to give some trigger warnings. They're going to be scrolling on the bottom of the screen for anybody who watches this live or comes in later and watches it live later on. But it's Ryan Murphy, so Ryan Murphy deserves trigger warnings for basically almost everything he creates, as we all know. For this one, since this really could have been called American Horror Story Ratched, it's pretty much all the warnings you would think of. But I want to really highlight suicide, mental abuse, since this all takes place in a psychiatric facility in a time when people did not care at all for how they treated people with mental illnesses and people who didn't even have mental illnesses. So so trigger warning for that. And then, of course, sexual abuse is a big trigger warning for this. And I also want to just throw out there incest. So trigger warnings for all of that, and murder, of course, but that's par for the course with Ryan Murphy. I don't feel like I need to give a trigger warning for that, but hey, it opens with a lot of murder committed by our lovely Finn. But before we dive into this very, very lovely, wonderful show, this was fun rewatching this, though, I have to say. I want to know what all of my panelists are into. And we have a first-time panelist on here. She's on our American Horror Story journey that we are doing for our Patreon subscribers. So if you want to be part of that, become a subscriber. But Chrissy, who is also a newest member of our Finn crew, because I have some of my Finn crew here. Aaron A, unfortunately, could not make it. So Chrissy, welcome to a regular episode. And welcome to our Finn crew. The waters are very warm and lovely here.
I'm very excited.
So what are you into right now in pop culture?
Anything horror. As a matter of fact, I just went to 5280 today and got 3 different horror pictures there to hang up in my already filled room with horror. So
Awesome. I love that. And for people that don't know, people that aren't in Colorado and people that are in Colorado, 5280 is an 80s store here in Colorado. And it's on Broadway. And it is amazing. It's where I got a lot of the stuff for our horror trivia event last year. And at that store, I could spend thousands upon thousands upon thousands of dollars there. That store is dangerous, but it's really cool. And there's so much cool 80s horror stuff there. Love that store. So definitely check that out if you're local. Even if you're not local, fly in, Jen.
Okay.
Come visit me.
Done.
Cool. I'll see you soon.
All right.
I gotta go.
Yeah. Knock on the door. That would be really weird.
Oh, that'd be cool.
So, Jen, what are
Yes.
you into right now?
Well, I just finished watching Our Flag Means Death for the second time. And I am so fucking in love with that show. And I love it so much. So I burned through it the first time. And then I told my husband, I was like, oh, hey, there's this like really cool pirate show you might like. I didn't tell him anything other than it was Reese Darby, because he knows him from Flight of the Conchords, and Taika Waititi. And he's like, oh, yeah, I like those guys, and a couple other people he recognized. So, yeah, we just finished watching that. And I fucking love that show so much. And they need to renew it. So please, my God, fucking renew that shit. Other than that, just listening to like a lot of this last week, a lot of just like indie podcasts, mostly women-led ones, while I cleaned and did a bunch of boring grown-up stuff. So it's been about it. And Ratched.
Ratched. Yes, every single my Twitter line is just about this show. I will probably not watch this show anytime soon, to be honest, but it's what everybody's talking about. I mean, I know I will eventually get bullied into doing an episode on this. I love Taika Waititi. I do. I want to say that. And I do think it's awesome to finally have representation where people are not being queer baited. So that's really awesome. I want to say that. But I don't know when I will get to it. So it'll end up being probably an episode that I will get bullied into doing. I say that lovingly. I've already been asked to do this. So we'll see. So Susie, what are you into?
Well, other than pirate brain rot, lovingly said, because oh my God, my Pirates of the Caribbean years like came back to me in a flash upon watching Our Flag Means Death. Oh, those were the days. No, but just like about a week or so ago, I was able to go back to like the theater in like the longest time, and I saw The Lost City with Sandra Bullock and Channing Tatum. And I've always been a fan of Sandra. I grew up with like all her rom-coms, so she's always been very near and dear. And this is also a very sweet like adventure rom-com as well. It's a fun watch. Like, it's funnier than I thought it was. It's just entertaining, and it's a good like lighthearted movie to just have some fun too.
I actually like Channing Tatum a lot. I want to say that I think Channing Tatum is a pretty cool person. So maybe I'll check it out sometime when it's on thing. I thought you were going to say the Batman because
Oh, so I feel like the worst Batman fan because I haven't been to see that yet.
Oh,
And
I haven't seen it. And
I actually
love
made
Batman
plans
so damn
to
much.
go see it. And then the day that I made plans to go see it in theaters, there was like a thing that was like, oh, it's going to be on HBO Max on the 18th. And I was like, I'll wait till the 18th.
Mhm.
It's fine. with my Batman jammies.
Nice.
Yeah.
Oh, careful.
Oh, got it.
Whoa.
Got it. It's good. It's good. No worries. I'm fine. Just some like contortionism. It's okay.
It's all good.
Blooper time. Well, what am I into? This is what's so weird. Is I'm watching so much stuff, but it's all podcast prep, of course. So even though it's podcast prep, I'll go ahead and just say it. I'm watching a lot of sitcoms right now, and it's really flippin' annoying. I will be honest. Way too much comedy. That's why it's nice to have the fucked up Ryan Murphy stuff mingled in there, so it kind of helps a little bit. But so I'm watching like How I Met Your Mother, which I'm hating. I'm heads up to everybody. We are covering that next month in May, and I hate this show. I hate it. So I am dreading this conversation so much. Susie's losing it. I hate this show. I hate it so much.
I didn't expect you to get so vehement about it. I was like, oh, it's gonna be like, it's not my favorite. I dislike it respectfully. And you're like, no, this is the worst. And I love that. Yes. You tell him.
Oh my gosh, I hate almost every person on this show. It's not, I don't find it fun at all. And I'm also watching Married with Children, which I'm pretty much done with, and Always Sunny in Philadelphia, and I still have to start. I almost said Ted's Diner. I don't know what the hell that is. Ted's Diner.
That's the diner that Ted Lasso starts up after he retires from coaching. He just sells the biscuits.
So Ted Lasso, I have to start. Yeah, Ted's Diner. Sorry, everybody. I'm just picturing a show. No, sorry. Anyway, so then I was like, New Girl, I will be honest, I was dreading this one because I do not like Zooey Deschanel all that much. Sometimes she's kind of hard to take. But I'm loving this. This is my favorite of the ones we're watching. I love this show so much. It's so funny. And my favorite character is Schmidt. I like pretty much all the characters, but he's just my favorite. And I think Max Greenberg is so amazing. And it's so nice to watch a actor from the Ryan Murphy universe not getting tortured. So cheers, Ryan Murphy. Okay. So it's kind of connected to what we're talking about. So now we are going to get into Ratched, and I will give the trigger warnings again, just in case for people listening. So once again, trigger warning for suicide, mental abuse, sexual abuse. I do want to throw in incest a little bit because that has to go with the sexual abuse there. But Ratched follows Nurse Mildred Ratched, who is really well known from One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest, who I want to say, One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest is one of my all-time favorite movies. It's in my top 5 favorite movies. I love it, love it. And when I heard this was happening, I was not really that eager about this. I will be completely honest, because of the fact that I love the movie so dang much. Then I saw Michael Douglas was a executive producer, and Michael Douglas was a producer on the film. So I was like, okay. And Sarah Paulson, and I thought the preview was good. It still was like very much American Horror Story Ratched, but it's still. So this follows her. Before that happens, I have read that what Ryan Murphy wants to do with these, because if you don't know, there is going to be a season 2. He wants each season to have some male protagonist be who she's kind of, I don't know, kind of encountering and battling. And it'll lead up to basically the male protagonist will be the character Jack Nicholson played, will be the last season, is what he wants it to be. So this season, first season, I would say Richard Hanover, Dr. Richard Hanover, I think, is actually the male protagonist for her. He's the male antagonist. He's the antagonist here. She's the protagonist, sorry. And then I think next season it'll be Edmund, her brother. So I think that's what it's setting up. So even if you don't want a second season, it's going to be happening. Looking at my panel, just trying to determine, we'll get to that. But we're going to first talk about Nurse Mildred Ratched, who, let's see, I can't wait to hear everybody's thoughts on her, because instead of just picking out our favorite characters, we'll do that in a minute. I think it's important to focus on 3 characters in here. And of course, we have to give some time to Edmund, because that's Finn Wittrock's character. So, Chrissy, what are your overall thoughts on Nurse Ratched and Sarah Paulson's performance? Who Sarah Paulson, of course, is the darling of Ryan Murphy. He likes to torture her and make her cry all the time.
Yeah, I love her. I really do love her. Her character started off boring to me, I guess. I'm sorry, I use that word a lot, I know, but like she did, it was very, I don't know, I couldn't get into it at first, even though I really love all her characters. But as the show progressed, I actually started to really like her. I don't know, I find her strong and evil. And that's sort of right up my lane. So both of those things are amazing to me. So yeah, I liked her a lot better. But for the first couple episodes, even, I was like, I don't know if I want to watch this. So, but I do like her. I do.
Yeah, that's interesting. The boring part. That's interesting. So don't know. I'm stewing over that for a minute because I didn't get that. So that's interesting. So Jen,
All right, I'm gonna start off by saying I'm just gonna get it out of the way. I don't really like this show.
well, I'm glad you're here, Jen.
Well, I figured
I'm just
normally I'm like,
kidding.
oh, I love it and blah, but like I was like, oh, this might be kind of good. There are definitely a lot of things I like about the show. It's very pretty, aesthetic, the music's great, yada yada. Performances are strong, but so when the first time I watched it, I was like, "Ooh, this is really interesting. Where's it going to go?" I know it's Ryan Murphy, so there's a chance of being let down, and I was. And so the second time around, knowing how everything was going to all play out and end, I too was kind of bored during the first half. And not until which is odd because the first time I watched it, I was all for that first half. And then the second half pissed me off. I was like, this doesn't make sense. Whereas this time I was like, first half is boring, but I'm going to pay attention to the second half because I feel like that's the half I need to give a shot to.
Mhm.
With that said, I love Sarah Paulson. I think she does a really, really great job. But Mildred Ratched is not okay.
No,
She
of course
is
not.
she's not okay. Very, very specific role play. I mean, I know she's got a lot of trauma and I understand that.
Her role play cracks me up.
Oh my God. That was like the funniest, weirdest shit. And I fucking loved every stupid second of it. But I'm just like, okay. So she's like devoutly committed to her brother Edmund because he saved her life. I get that and yada yada. But then she's like, oh, now you gotta die. And I can't like try and save you anymore. And I'm just like, okay, fine, whatever. But so I'm not happy that it's getting a second season. And I had read that Ryan Murphy had the whole arc idea and everything for 4 seasons. And I'm like, well, at least I know when it'll end. But she's very kind of like an interesting person to watch because she's like okay with some forms of medical treatment, aka torture, but then also like not, I don't know. She's just an odd duck and yeah. But Sarah Paulson does a really great job. Like I said, all the performances are really, really great in this show. I just, at the end of the day, am not a mega fan of it, but very interesting. And I meant to rewatch One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest, but I didn't get a chance to get that in to kind of see where the groundwork being laid and all that stuff. But
yeah, because I meant to put on here and I'll ask it in a minute, so I'll save that. But so Susie, do you like this show?
Okay, listen. It's a show.
I think I'm gonna like this more than anybody else on the panel. I can already tell. So
it's a show that Ryan made. And it's a show that Finn is in, and that Sarah is in. And I love them. But this is a show. This is not a show that I frequently watch. When I first heard that they were making the show, I was very trepidatious. I'm like, oh no. And Ryan Murphy's got his hands on this. Ooh, okay, all right, we're gonna be wary. And then I saw that trailer set to Big Spender, and I was like, oh god damn it, sucked me in again.
Yeah, the trailer was amazing.
Yeah, that was freaking.
Trailer is really good.
It's so good, right?
It's so good.
Different from the show itself, and that should have been the clue. That should have been the. He always gets me with the trailers.
He does.
I guess
I showed my husband the trailer, and I was like, I'm so bored through this right now. And I showed him the trailer, and he's like, "Really? You're bored right now?" Because he was like, "Oh, this looks kind of interesting. It's very intriguing."
Yeah, okay. When I first saw it, I saw it when it premiered on Netflix or whatnot, and I stayed up the whole night to finish it. I kid you. I was sitting there in the dark with my laptop, just going, "Yeah, story, give it to me." And then I just forgot about it afterwards. It was very much a blip, and I was like, "Okay, that was a show I watched." Awesome. And you know, the character like Mildred Ratched, it's so hard. Okay, it's so hard to kind of like connect this Mildred to One Flew Over
Oh yeah.
to Cuckoo Mildred because it's so they're so different. And I don't want more, but I kind of want more seasons just so that I know how she got to be Cuckoo Mildred instead of Ratched Mildred. Like how she made this journey. I want to know. Like it's like the difference is just so astounding. And oh my gosh, this woman, she's so conniving and like scheming. Like she's really great at like pulling puppet strings. Like she's so good at it. And it's oh my gosh. It's and Sarah Paulson does like a phenomenal job. And it's I don't know because sometimes she's excuse my French, a really heartless cunt, and then other times she's so sweet, like with what is it, Mrs. Cartwright and the opera singer when she helps them like run away. Like
Yes, I love
that's
that.
really sweet of her, and you're like, oh, see, she's not totally heartless, and then she's orchestrating deaths like in the next couple of seconds, and you're like, oh my god, oh okay, ooh, she is like the literal definition of like what is it, gaslight, girl boss, gatekeeper, whatnot, like that that phrase. She's the literal definition of that in the show, and oh my goodness, it just the irony of like her being in a mental health facility and the main cast the employees need as much help as the patients. Like oh my god,
More
yeah,
more help.
Mhm.
Okay, well, I guess I like this more than everybody else. Maybe I don't know. Here's the thing. When this show first came out, as I said, I love One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest, and I do. It is weird to try and I know it's a different universe, but I still think it's impossible to separate the two in your mind if you're a fan of those. And I do think there's a stark difference between Louise Fletcher's Mildred Ratched and Sarah Paulson's, but at the same time there are little hints to that Mildred Ratched. It's kind of like it's weird because this Mildred Ratched, while she's awful and horrible, like Charlotte says to her, in her fantasy thing in the last episode, she says, "You've killed people too." I mean, she like gets on her high horse like she hasn't done anything flipping wrong, and she gets that guy to kill himself in like the first episode. She's like, "You should kill yourself. Nothing's gonna get better." And I wish somebody had told me that. And I'm like, what a horrible person to be working at a mental health facility. And so you can see how that person became the person from One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest, who that person in One Flew Over the Cuckoo and is like, she doesn't care about any of these people anymore. So I think there was a part of her that, and you see it in here, that cared and wanted to help, like helping the women escape. And I mean, that was amazing. That was really cool scene. And a part of her that for a long time really loves her brother and really wants to help her brother. And, doesn't want him to die and feels like it's her fault that her brother's even here. So there's that part of her, but then there's that part of her that's like, she'll do anything to get what she wants. She'll do anything to be the head of something. And she's very cold and calculating and callous. She's so mean. She's so mean. There are things she does in here that she pretends like she's doing them out of love. Like, the whole and I believe me, Edmund is horrible. He does horrible, awful things. I'm not excusing anything he does, but the whole fantasy where she's like, I'm just going to take him out to barn. I'm going to euthanize him out there. It's going to be this beautiful scene. And I'm like, do you realize how messed up that is? I don't think she sees that. She just sees that she's doing this beautiful thing for people and she's helping them. She's relieving them.
She's an angel of mercy.
Yes, that's what she thinks she is, but she gets off on it. I think she gets off on this as much as like Edmund got off on killing all the priests. It's the same kind of thing. She's like, this is her way of dealing with all the trauma she's been through. And she's just such a she's so awful. And it's weird because I think because you're following the story through her. It's her story, her journey. She's the central character. She's really the protagonist, and you're supposed to be with her, but she's kind of like an anti-hero, yet she's not, and she's really messed up, and she doesn't acknowledge how many horrible things she has done. She doesn't except for with Edmund, she doesn't want to take any responsibility for all the things she does. So she's frustrating because you're like, you'll do these kind things, and like Huck adores her. Huck is so sweet. Oh my God, he is.
Oh, bless Huck.
Oh my
Love
gosh,
that
he
Huck.
is. Oh, he's such an angel. He's so sweet. And she's nice to him, and she treats him great, and he's got a major crush on her. I'm like, oh, Huck, you could do so much better. And people love her, but she's also just evil. She's just got such callousness to her, and it's like she's like feels like she got dealt such a bad hand, so it's excuses anything she does. So I can see her becoming the Mildred Ratched you see later down the line. She would have to not cry as much, I will say that, because that Mildred is so cold and so stone and really terrifying in a different way because of how cold she is. And so I'll be interested to see as it goes along. I'm going to continue to watch this. I'm going to continue to watch this. Next season, Finn's going to be back, so it's not like I cannot not watch this. Exactly. So I'll continue to watch it. But yeah, and Sarah Paulson is amazing. Ryan Murphy, you don't have to, I know she's a good crier, but you don't always have to make her cry. She can do other things. She's an amazing actress. She doesn't have to just cry. Yeah. So note to you, Ryan Murphy, don't just keep making her cry just because she's so dang good at it. She can do more than that. And I want to give a shout out to the opening credits of this, because the way this series looks, the aesthetics, the lighting, the costume design, and that opening credit, I never skip it. Never once ever. And I've watched this a couple times. Never once did I skip this. So yeah. I forgot to say, the first time I watched this, I didn't finish it. I was like, whatever. And I forgot about it. And then I got on my Finn Wittrock kick, and I watched it last year. So this is the second time I've watched it in less than 6 months. So, and I actually liked it a lot more this time than I did the last time. But yeah, so those are my overall thoughts on Nurse Mildred Ratched. So I guess when we cover this again when they do season 2, I guess I can't count on everybody else to come back.
He's gonna sucker me in with another trailer. I know it. Like it's
It'll just be me.
I hate to say it, he's got me in a sadistic chokehold.
There's something about this. I don't know what he does, but well, Finn's gonna be in it, so you have to watch it.
Yeah.
Wait, you can't not watch it.
Worst for Finn.
This novice actor who I've never seen before in my life, him.
He's going to be murdered in the second season. I'm calling it right now.
Probably.
Yeah. By Mildred. That's my guess of what's going to happen.
You think by Mildred? Oh, I suppose it kind of would need to happen at that point, but you never know. We'll see.
Yeah. Okay, so let's get to Edmund Tolleson, played by the somewhat good-looking. He's okay. Somewhat talented. Finn Wittrock. Who we only talk about every once in a while. He's become a staple of this show. I feel like he's our second mascot. He's right beneath Christian effing Bale as our unofficial mascots. So yeah, I just decided that. So that means everybody that's on this podcast, you're part of our Finn crew, whether you want to be or not.
Meg and Carla are gonna love that.
I did that specifically for them. I'm going to play this clip just for them. I'm going to tag them in it, and they're going to know. But let's get to Edmund Tolleson, who is, of course, the adopted brother. He's not biologically, but for all intents and purposes, he is the brother of Mildred Ratched. And the show opens with him so viciously, oh my gosh, the murder scenes when he bashes that guy's head in the bathtub and against the toilet and stuff, and oh my God. So he brutally murders a bunch of priests because he found out that his biological mom was actually a nun, and she claimed, and this probably was what happened, that she was raped by a priest and became pregnant with him. And then did she end up killing herself? Now I can't remember. I don't remember. But anyway, he's very angry because of that. He also, when he was in foster care, him and Mildred were in horrible abusive homes, abused, beaten up. And then they were eventually, you find out, and this is where the trigger warning for sexual abuse and incest comes in. They were adopted by a very rich family who the puppet, oh my God, the puppet show scene where basically Mildred goes to a puppet show and she thinks this puppet show is showing all the stuff that her and Edmund were put through as kids, but they end up being put on as a show, and there's an ad placed in the paper, and people come out there and they have sex with each other for people to come and watch. It's horrible. It's awful. It's disgusting. And they end up being separated because Edmund's like, we've got to get out of here. We've got to leave. They plan an escape, and Edmund can't just leave. He wants to go back and kill them. So he goes back to kill them. They get separated, don't meet again until you find out she actually saw him in a home or some care system when he's older, and he lies to her and says when he's getting out is actually a day before. Is actually the day after he actually gets out, so they don't see each other. And then she's trying to find him. That's why Mildred Ratched's actually in this facility, because she knows Edmund's going to be there, and she wants to try and get him to not be sentenced to death, because he ends up being sentenced to death. So anyway, sorry. So Edmund has killed all these priests. He gets sent to the mental facility, and he's locked in a cage down there. He ends up running away with Dolly, and they have like a Bonnie and Clyde little time. And then you learn that he loves the animals. And yes, and we've already talked about on our Office Space thing about the prosthetic penis. We're not going to get into that too much. Full frontal for literally like 2 seconds. You blink and you miss it kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
And that's not the real thing. If anybody is wondering, that's not his real thing. I just like watching my
thing.
analysts' faces. We talked about this for like 20 minutes on the Office Space thing. It was so weird. But anyway, and he's played, of course, like we've already said, by Finn Wittrock. And I think this is one of Finn Wittrock's best performances ever. And I will gush about it in a minute, but I just want to know. So, Chrissy, what are your overall thoughts on Edmund? And if you don't like him, we may never see you on this show again. I mean, the performance. You don't have to like Edmund because he does horrible things.
He was not boring. He was somebody I really liked, actually. In a terrible way. In a terrible way. Let me just say that. I don't know, like that first scene, like you said, the murder scene is just anything scary gets me. As you guys know, I'm queen of creepy. So that just made me very happy. And then I think when I really liked him was almost his relationship with Dolly. It was very interesting to me that he seemed to really love her. He in the barn, like, I don't know, it's like he changed into a different person for me, because I'm like, you're a terrible person, like this is weird, you're really weird. I'm like, and then the second they got in the barn, I'm like, okay, wait, like that's not who you are. I'm confused. Like, so yeah, I don't know, he was one of my standouts of why I could keep watching it. Plus it's Finn, but I'm just like, it's hard not to enjoy his performance, because he does a really good job. So I really like him.
Good, you can stay, and you can stay part of our thing.
Good.
You get a sticker.
Sticker for me.
You get a sticker. Yes, because we don't have anyone playing along right now. We've had people come in and out watching, but no one is playing along yet with our bingo card that I know of. They could be playing along. So, I've been marking. So Jen, I know you are not the biggest fan of this actor. Just kidding. You didn't do a whole episode.
Yeah,
For
I
me.
dislike him so much. I did an entire episode. No, obviously I'll watch anything with Finn in it, even if he's in it for like a total of 10 minutes. But
Gee, what are you talking about there?
um, so I love him in this. He does creepy so well. And then the thing he does with like kind of curling his upper lip when he's speaking, or he's really in kind of like a dark moment, talking murdery things or whatever. It's just, it's so unsettling and off-putting, but he's still ever so handsome. So I can keep watching because of that. But yeah, I'd have to say that so he's really fascinating and fun to watch, because this whole time you're like, oh, he's such a baddie. He's like unhinged, he's psychotic, whatever. But then they get out to the barn, and he has like a line to Dolly about like he's like one of the nicest people she could have met. And I'm like, okay, well, which is it? Are you a murdering psycho, or are you a nice guy who likes the animals and feels that innocent people don't deserve to be shot or killed, but security guard guy was fair game? And then comes around and he's like, nope, now I need to murder my sister. Like, dude, pick a lane. But that's not Finn's fault. He still played all of that very well. Kind of confusing little roller coaster of like good guy, bad guy. And okay, I guess it's never really that easy, but he does such a great job. He looks amazing because he's, shirtless several times. And then the little handy through the jail cell. Like, first of all, worst security guard fucking ever down there.
It's like, okay, go ahead.
Yeah. But like that scene was more erotic and thrilling than a certain Hulu original erotic thriller. There's that element of like, oh my God, we could get caught. Voyeurism, naughtiness. Like, that was a nice scene.
Yes.
Yeah. So Finn obviously does an amazing job. Love him. Like I said, we'll watch anything with him in it. So definitely one of the more interesting to watch characters of the show.
Yes. So Susie, I know you like this person somewhat too.
Let me say,
A joke gonna get old, yes.
first of all,
We all love him.
I would like to extend a deep thank you to costuming for putting him in pants that really emphasize the bountiful rumpus to the viewers. Much respect, much love.
He has a really
Thank
nice
you.
ass.
It is. It's yeah, if he has a trainer, thank you so much for all your hard work and dedication.
Mhm.
And if not, then thank you so much, Finn, for giving us this. Very kind of you. You didn't have to show us any booty, but you did. And thanks.
We appreciate
I was
it.
looking respectfully. Sometimes disrespectfully.
Right.
Just gonna admit it a little bit.
I'm respectfully admiring that butt.
Yeah. Just, admiring the hard work that went into it.
Exactly.
Right? Yeah. Yeah. Mm-hmm. He was real cheeky about it.
Ah.
Can't wait to tag him in this clip.
It's gonna be great. Finn, again, respectfully looking. Thank you so much. Edmund is a character that you just kind of you hate that you love him in a way, because you're just like, because God. One of the many things that I love about Finn is like how well he adds such complexity to like some of these really malicious characters or characters that in the hand of any other possibly less as gifted actors might turn out to just be like completely just abhorrent. And like like, yeah, like you see him and he's like the stone hard, just like vengeful murderer initially, and he's just like, you see him and he has that edge. Like even when he's like locked up, you're like, oh, Dolly, please don't get too close to the man who could like take you out in a second and just blink and not even think about it. And no, she's there giving him a joyful surprise between the cell bars.
Because he's had that
And then-
erection for
and
quite a
then
while.
Quite a while.
Can't do
Sir.
push-ups because it makes it throb.
Oh,
Oh my God.
the difficulties of manhood. Oh,
He can't relieve
Yeah,
himself for religious reasons.
That was the best. Oh my God, that line was amazing. It was awful, but it was
reasons with the big like Disney princess eyes, and you're like, oh God,
For
sir.
religious reasons, you must relieve me. I can't relieve myself for religious reasons.
Sir, it is 11 o'clock on a Saturday afternoon. I'm gonna need you to stop. Goodness gracious. Let me just get myself under control here. But and then you get glimpses of like how like unexpectedly like sweet he can be. Like even like everyone's been talking about the barn scene, but for me, when I turned the corner into kind of like looking at him a little bit more differently, was like just before, I think it's episode like 5 or 6. No, I think it's like right before Mildred has the dance.
Mhm.
And you see him in the cell, and he's practicing his dance moves.
I know.
And
So weird.
when that happened, I was like, and he's like, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2. He's got his arms out, like doing the whole like practice thing. And I was like, oh,
I had that in my
No.
notes.
I was like, damn it, he's kind of sweet. No, this can't happen. This can't happen. Oh. Yeah, and then a friend put it to me really well that like I have a thing for troubled brunettes, and I was like, no. I was like, that's it. That's the type. Oh God damn it, no.
That's our new club.
Yeah, troubled brunettes.
Yes.
It's the black hair,
Brunette-
though. It's
It
not
is.
even black hair.
But oh gosh, this man. And then we get to the barn, and he's actually really sweet, and he loves animals, and you're like, I'm so confused.
Exactly.
He's like, Dolly, no, don't use the gun. And she's like, Dolly, yes. And he's like, Dolly, no. She's like, Dolly, yes. And you're like, oh, God, Jesus, Dolly.
Toledo, Dolly. I love the way he says that. Holy Toledo, Dolly.
It's like, oh my gosh, it is great. Like, I don't know why, but in my head, I thought he followed it up. Holy Toledo, Jesus Christ on a cracker. Dolly, put that down. Like, I don't know why that was a line in my head. And I was like, I would have put it like past him to say that. But oh my God. And then he's like sweet in that moment. And then he just turns into like, I'm going to murder my sister because my sister tried to murder me and I'm not having it. And you're like, okay, we're back to the edge now. I see you. And then he's just, what is it, like road tripping across the country with a jazz baby and Charlotte? And you're like, oh, okay. This is like, I would like there to be like a spinoff series of just like
Ooh.
Edmund, Jazz Baby, and Charlotte's like road tripping
Yes.
adventures across the U.S.
Yes.
I'd watch the shit
Yes,
out of
Ryan
that.
Murphy, give us that.
Yeah.
Give us that.
Yes.
Can we have that before the second?
That
season?
trio is not a trio I expected to want together, and I love
Right?
them together.
Yes.
Yes.
Well, and there's
She's just
something,
hanging out in the car
and there's something
with
like-
the leeches.
with like the niceness of Edmund. There's something there because he's able to like hang out with Charlotte and Odine and the Hitler killer guy, like all her different personality types.
Yeah.
Like none of them have any issues with Edmund. They're just like, she's still sitting there. I played first chair violin.
She's so
And it's always
great.
a little different. So that I thought was really interesting, and I loved that a lot too.
Yeah, you're just like, like I want to see this. Like this is like an unexpected trio. I want to see what they were up to, like in between those 3 years, and maybe even after, before they catch up to Mildred again. just driving around in this car.
Well, like I said, this is one of my favorite Finn Wittrock performances. I really think Finn Wittrock is very underrated, I want to say. And I mean, I know he's well known and everything, but as far as like among the actors here, I think And yes, we talk about how good looking he is because he is a gorgeous man and he's really gorgeous to watch in here. We've already talked about that. But he's also a really good actor. And I think sometimes the fact that he is good looking gets overshadows what a good actor he is. I think people just concentrate on that and just think of him as another pretty face. But he is so damn good in this role. He does the body, the way he holds his body as Edmund
Mm-hmm.
can be so creepy. Just the way he does his shoulders, like in the beginning. I mean, you've seen the
The little
GIFs,
haunching.
everybody. Yes, and when he
Yeah.
kind of just like moves, and when he does that little like, boo, like kind of like he jumps at the guy, it's freaky because he does it so well, and he has this little laugh and the curl to his lips, like you mentioned before, Jen, and the little looks he does, and the way he just, even when he's like, there's just every way he holds it's just the way he holds his body is like this guy who I think number one, this guy doesn't realize how good looking he is. I just want to say that I don't think he realizes how good looking he is, which I know sounds weird, but I just don't think he necessarily sees that, and he doesn't see any hope for his life. I think the reason he seems like such a confused character where you go back and forth between, do I like him? Do I not like him? Is he a good guy? Is he a bad guy? Is he horrible and awful and no redeeming qualities? But look at him with animals. Is I think the reason that happens is this was a character who was totally in a constant state of PTSD and fight or flight mode. And he's always in a fight mode usually. And so I think I'm not excusing any action he does. I want to say that up front because he viciously murders people. We hear he's viciously murdered a bunch of nurses later because now he's focused on Mildred. So I don't want to excuse that, but I think a lot of that is trauma based. I don't think he's necessarily like a serial killer, quote unquote, like a typical serial killer. I'm not saying he's not messed up because he's very messed up, but I think he like had this break when he was young and traumatized and being sexually abused. And I think it kind of broke something inside him. And I think once he murdered his foster parents, it was like that was just it that broke him. And so I think when he is in a traumatizing situation or when he feels betrayed by people that love him or people that are supposed to be good, like him attacking priests to me is a reaction to religion and not entirely a reaction to what was done to his mom. It's kind of like religion is supposed to be this amazing saving thing, and you've hurt and destroyed my mom and in turn destroyed my life, and my life has been destroyed in the name of God. I think that's kind of where he was coming from. And so he kind of he's like anything that destroys what happens and or what destroys like his life or hurts people he loves, especially himself, he kind of just focuses all his energy there. And unfortunately, it's negative energy. And so he becomes violent and a murderer. And I think what happened with I almost said Norma. That was weird. We're not talking about Norman and Norma here. Not Bates Motel.
But I'd love to again.
But I think what happened with Nurse Ratched is Mildred was going to rescue him from this. Mildred was going to save him. Mildred believed in him, and Mildred was the one person who believed in him. And I think when he finds out and he even up to the end wants to believe she wanted to rescue him. He wants to believe when Charlotte comes there to get him out that was her plan. And when he learns that was not her plan, I think it was so devastating to him to have the one person that supposedly loved him and cared for him and wanted to be like number one in his life. Like Mildred says, why couldn't you just show all your affections to me? I'm like, bitch, you're the only one who can have a flippin' romantic relationship. He's not allowed to have, I'm not saying it's a healthy relationship, but he's not allowed to have a romantic relationship. He's just supposed to be focused on you. So I think that was just kind of like devastating and really just was like, well, then F you. I have no care or concern for you. And I'm going to take all my hatred, all my anger out on you now and anyone that represents what you're supposed to be. And I think the reason you don't see him like try to kill these two women with him, because he doesn't even like, he could kill them and he doesn't, is because I don't think he's necessarily a serial killer. I think he's kind of like, it's weird. It's very weird to describe because he's not like a typical serial killer. although he is in a way, he has some of those. He's a very interesting, dynamic character, and watching him with animals, oh my god, it's like watching a little boy. He turns into a little boy when he first sees that chicken. And he can't kill the chicken, and then Dolly kills it. And you can see what's so interesting about the Dolly scenes when they escape is he seems a little bit scared of her. He even says that he's scared of her, and I think he is. And I think if Dolly had lived and not decided to come running out there with the shotgun, I think if Dolly had lived, I think they would not have. I think she might have murdered him, or something might have happened, because I think she was more unstable than him, to be quite honest. But that whole chicken scene, not wanting to kill it, and and his whole thing is, and I agree with this, people are horrible and animals are not horrible. If we could be more like animals, this would be a better place. And I think that's where his mindset is. And when he gets that time in the barn, and the scene when he's like, he sees the pig and he's just like, oh, he's so excited to see all these animals. And then when he sees the white horse, that scene is probably my favorite scene with Edmund, because there's such vulnerability there, and Finn does that so well. He plays vulnerability really, really well, especially in characters that are so icky. Like this character, and do horrible things. He adds such a layer, like you said, Susie, he adds something to them. He doesn't just play it as your typical villain. And when he's sitting there petting the white horse and he's like, I'm not afraid. I'm not afraid. And he's crying. He's like crying. And you can see that fear, because he knows he's going to die. This is before he knows he's going to end up escaping. And so he knows he's going to be put to death. And you can see all that fear there. And like, what have I done with my life? And it's just a very fascinating, interesting scene, because it's really quick and brief. But Finn plays that so, so well. And he didn't, have an actor to act off of. I mean, he has a horse, but the horse isn't necessarily going to give him like the emotions he wants off of him. So he does that really well. And he's another one that does the eye acting. So I think he's incredible in this. I don't think this would be as exciting to watch if he wasn't in it. And that being said, there was not enough of him in this. I want to say there are some episodes where he's in there for 5 minutes, and he's like second build. And there should have been more of him, I honestly. And I'm hoping we'll get to what we hope for, but I'm hoping in season 2 we'll get more of him, because I just love Finn Wittrock's performance in this so much. He gives everything to this character. And I know, and I should have looked up the article to quote him exactly, but I don't know if does everyone know what he did to prepare for part of this role? This is going to really freak you out. So
Oh boy.
He was following people. He would just start following people randomly.
Oh my god.
I mean,
Can you sign up for that?
Yeah, can you volunteer?
Where's the sign up
on the slide?
Yeah, he would just say, I would creepily start following people and kind of hide. And yeah,
That's hilarious. That's fucking hilarious to me.
You imagine you're sitting at a Starbucks, just like drinking your iced cappuccino, frappo, macco, whatever, and you're watching out. You're just like writing something, and then you look out the window, and like he's just like Mission Impossibling himself across the street behind someone. You're like, what is this man doing? And he's like, I can imagine like the theme song playing in his head, like dun 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 dun, hiding behind a tree.
He's got to be singing it and like doing like somersaults, like a cartoon character. God, I swear that's a scene someplace. But yeah,
just like tiptoeing.
Yeah, I just thought that was interesting when yeah, because that would be really fascinating if you happen to also see, oh, hey, Finn Wittrock's stalking me.
Imagine, like, if that also like broke the mystique of what he's doing. You're just like walking down the street and you feel like a presence behind you, and you go, "What in the hell?" And you turn around, you're like, "Oh my god, Finn oh, can I get your autograph, please? They're like, oh my God, you're such a dear. And he's like, oh, God damn it. I was like, what are you doing in the streets of Colorado? Just like researching for a role.
You're just like, let me give you some tips on
You're
stalking people.
delightful. Let me tell you.
Some tips.
Yeah,
Like, I spotted you way too
Twilight
soon.
and then follow Edward's lead.
No, do not be like that. But no, if you want to really stalk someone, we don't know how to stalk people.
We don't know.
Just
putting it out there.
Not know how to do
Disclaimer.
that. Serious.
Not a pastime. No.
They don't speak for me.
We don't know her. She just popped up on the podcast.
Yeah, I'm like, who are you?
Came in out of nowhere.
Somehow I don't know where the link came from, but I'm like, I'm gonna click it.
FBI Dan in the camera. I don't know this person that well.
Oh,
I
totally forgot to point out one scene I want to point out because it's me. And I was thinking about it before when Susie was going on her thing about praising Finn Wittrock's ass. I just want to say it's funny. Okay, so and then we were talking about how this is more erotically thrilling than a certain movie we watched, and it is. The scene with Dolly when they're in the baths and he's choking her, he's got his hand on her throat. That should not be as fucking sexy as it is. Even for me, who's into that kind of stuff, that should not be as sexy as it is. But damn, if that isn't sexy as hell.
That's pretty sexy.
Damn, if you don't watch that and go, oh, so you want to do that? Okay.
Oh, my land.
Okay, I'll play.
And then you're like, open up AO3.
Open AO3.
Just go, excuse me, let me just pause this real quick.
But yeah, no, that was, that was very nice. It almost made me go, okay, so you and Michael C. Hall can know.
Oh my God.
Okay.
It's a spring winter. Why is it so warm in this room? Oh.
Oh man. Okay, so now I want to talk about Dr. Richard Hanover because I thought it was important to sing about this character too. Because, like I said, I think Dr. Richard Hanover is the antagonist in a lot of respects as far as the male antagonist, since Ryan Murphy wants to have a male antagonist in each one. And I think Edmund will be the one for season 2. So played by Jean-Jean Briones, who is an incredible actor. He is so dang good in American Crime Story. For Gianni Versace, he plays the father of Andrew Cunanan, and he is so flippin' creepy and so good in that series. So just giving a shout out to that. That's on Hulu now. Now all those are on Hulu, not on Netflix anymore. So Chrissy, what are your thoughts on Dr. Hanover, who runs the facility? He's also uses a lot of drugs. He wants to do a newfound lobotomies he thinks will cure everything. We see him that Sharon Stone's son, he had ended up in a drug-fueled state with acid, where he was laced with acid by her spoiled Dandy Mott-esque son, who ended up chopping all his limbs off. Anyway, that whole scene was so Ryan Murphy. So, Chrissy, what are your thoughts on Dr. Hanover?
He's an interesting man. This is like, I don't know. This is how I would expect a doctor to be on drugs. Like, he did that very well. This is, I guess, one of my favorite scenes is when he was like chopping off his limbs, and it was, I don't know. That was one of it was very weird. It was very weird and right up my alley. Like, this is weird. Okay, I can watch this. This is cool. It's just, I don't know. And then the other scene with him that I think about a lot is when he's working on the lobotomy things, and the nurse is throwing up in the room, and I'm like, this is insane. Like, oh gosh, he's an interesting person. He definitely is like, he is what you would expect a doctor to be like in a mental facility on drugs. He did that well.
Yeah. 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 So, Jen, your thoughts?
So Hanover, I I've always kind of felt a little sorry for him because I
Me
think
too.
that he's always like he truly deep down really 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 wants to save someone, save people, help people. I don't like that he always uses save when we're talking about like mental illness because it isn't always about saving someone, right? Like how we
Mhm.
wouldn't typically think about saving someone, but it's the 40s, so I'm not going to spend a lot of time on that. Um but I think that he gets so blind on on helping people ethically and just becoming like he wants to help people, but he also wants to kind of like be a bit of a big shot, groundbreaker, innovator, all of these things. So when he's got those blinders on, he doesn't see that like, hot boiling baths to treat homosexuality is just a whole big basket of wrong. And but he thinks in 1940 that that is what to do. And so I always kind of go a little back and forth because it's like I feel bad for him, but only up to a certain point because then after that everything is a conscious choice and he knows what he's doing. So at some point he's just I can't feel sorry for him anymore. Um One of my favorite scenes with him though is is actually when Mildred confronts him in the restaurant and is like, "You're gonna make me head nurse now," and all this and that. He's terrified. He's shocked. He's all drugged up as well. But I just kind of love that moment where he's kind of being put in his place and just like, you're not gonna do your thing anymore, really, in that sense, because Mildred is gonna, boss her way in, shove her way in, and everything. So, um, I liked that scene, and then even when he's fired and he goes to, like, take Charlotte with him because this is the one person he is now committed to helping, quote, "saving" this person, and it might be the one person he's come the closest to helping out of everyone there, like, actually legitimately helping her. Um, but what a gigantic fucking bad idea that shit was. Like, don't do that to DID patients, man. Like, she's finally feeling safe and now you're ripping her out from a safe place and then literally shoving her into a closet and then triggers her dissociative whatever they're called. But I do want to say that, and I'll save it for later because it's a point down the on the
Oh,
outline. But
okay.
so yeah, with Hanover, I always kind of felt a little bad for him, but also not a lot bad. But he was kind of fun to watch, and but that like emotional roller coaster to me made a little bit more sense than like Edmund going from like pure evil and murdery to like I love bunnies and shit. Like this kind of made a little bit more sense to me, and so I think maybe that's why I empathize, pity Hanover a little bit.
So, Susie.
I don't know. My feelings for Hanover get like a little bit like I don't know complicated, complex because when you first meet him, he's just sitting there waiting to meet the governor, and you can tell he's been waiting for hours, and then he gets said no to, so he goes to Drown His Sorrows, and he sees him there, and he's like, "Oh, I need to approach him and state my case," and then he gets shot down, and you're like, "Oh, this poor man, he's just trying to like, he's just trying to do what he can to kind of like help people in the way that he thinks is best," but then you you kind of see the darkness under the surface, like, especially when he gets back and he just like he gets so volatile and just like throws everything off the desk and like, "Oh no, sir," and then he gets like just completely manipulated by Mildred this whole time into hiring her and then into like promoting her and then like him eventually being under her thumb in a way. And like when they're sitting in the restaurant, he tells her like, "Oh, this is why I have like a murderer chasing after me. It's because I mutilated her son." And I don't know if his like drug addiction goes farther back than the treatment of Dandy Mott-esque child.
Dandy 2.0.
Danny 2.0, or would it be 1.0 since it was like 40s and now it's 60s?
That's true, but
Yeah. But it's, we're gonna call him Dandy Stone.
Dandy wannabe. I mean, he's not as
Dandy-
interesting
yeah.
as Dandy. I'll
Yeah,
say that.
Dandy wannabe. If you're just like, could someone, like if I was one of the wait staff in that house, it'd just be like, "Oh, look, a pillow. It has slipped onto his face. Oh no, no!"
Oops,
And
I
then
accidentally drugged your food. Oh
and then you put the pillow
no.
back, and you go, "Oh, I just left his pillows before I left. He was breathing. Oh, he went in his sleep. How peaceful." No, but then like I don't know. I got the sense, like especially when I watched that scene and you learned of this backstory, I kind of got like a little bit of the sense that maybe his drug addiction might have started then because of the massive dose that wannabe Dandy gave him. Like everything after that kind of seemed to me that he was either like searching to either obtain like a similar high, but to also simultaneously forget the wrong that he did and kind of numb that guilt and pain over those actions. And you do kind of see that he thinks he's helping people, but sir, you cannot hardboil a person and expect it to work, or to lobotomize people. That's not like, it's easy for us from this, like especially modern perspective, to like condemn these actions because they're not good. But in the time, if we like separate ourselves for a moment and think about it, in that time he did think he was doing it good, but we all know you can't like shrimp fork a person and expect that to do any good. It's not.
Snail fork a person. Sorry.
You can't snail fork someone and be like, "This is the ultimate good." You're like, you can't appetizer a person's brain and just expect it to be good. But then his relationship with Charlotte, when he's like, "Oh, she has DID," even Mildred's like, "You can't diagnose that. There's like no way to tell for sure." And he's like, "She does, and I'm gonna help get her treatment." And then you can see like his initial treatment plan for her starts to help, and he sees her as this like, I think he starts to see her more as like, other than a patient, as just more like a success story for him. It's like, if I can do this right and if I can cure her, then that's going to make me like the top of the top, and I'm going to be the best again, and people are going to like me, people are going to trust me, I'm going to get my job back. And then he kidnaps her, and then we all know how that goes. So it's not the best decision.
No.
Oh, I don't know. It's just like there are times when you feel really, when you do kind of feel like a little bit of pity for him, but just overall you're like, oh my God, this is like a comedy of errors. This is very much a series of a lot of unfortunate events that have brought us to this moment. And just like, oh, just props to John. You did like such a good job with this character. Props to you, sir. Oh God.
Has anyone else watched American Crime Story: The Assassination of Gianni Versace? My Finn crew has not flippin' watched this.
No.
I
We're
mean,
getting disowned.
Darren Chris
I know.
is mind-blowingly good in this.
We're getting kicked
but
out
still,
of the
I
channel.
cannot believe my Finn crew has not watched this.
We're not getting
Listen.
stickers.
We're not getting stickers. No goat stars for us. Oh.
Well, yeah, you
We're
are all,
getting
and the fact that you all like this stuff, I cannot. I mean, granted, it's really well done. So
It's
please
on
go
my
watch it.
to-do list, Aaron.
Go watch it. And then you can be part of the Finn crew again. Right now, you are disowned from the Finn
What-
crew.
Oh,
And go watch Danny
never.
does these videos.
Not even in the ending of the show that shall not be spoken of have I felt such pain. Oh,
No,
Oh.
you are still part of the Finn crew. I just cannot believe you haven't watched that. He was nominated for a flippin' Emmy for that, okay?
Oh.
Or at least
What is
Screen Actors
this?
Guild. I think Emmy did. Yeah.
A knife. Oh,
But this character, you know, I agree. There's not much I can add except for you're gonna put a patient, if you are that good of a doctor, why would you put a patient who has told you their trauma and what they went through into a situation that is going to reignite that trauma? Because Charlotte ends up killing him. And why are you going to do that? That was so, oh my gosh. I think it was just he was panicked in the moment, didn't know what to do. Here he is. I mean, the racism in the scene when him and Charlotte are sitting at that restaurant and that flippin' waitress that I wanted to flip and punch in the face and is like, with your kind, because, you know, he's an Asian man and he's with a black woman. And so, of course, in the 40s, they're just, the racism in that moment was, oh, I was so mad. So I think he also has that where he's like, you know, the police are coming at the door. And I mean, what am I going to do? And what? So he's panicked. So I understand why he did it. But at the same time, I'm like, that's the worst place to put her in. It's going to flip in her trauma. It's just going to just come raging back. So yeah, that he kind of broke my heart because even though the stuff he does is horrible and it's torture and the way they treated people with mental illnesses and people who didn't have mental illnesses back then. And I mean, this stuff still kind of goes on to an extent too. I want to say that it's not all rosy now, but the way they treated people back then was so atrocious and was torture. But I do think, and I'm not excusing it because I don't want to excuse what he did, even for the time. I don't want to excuse it because I think it was horrible. But I think in his mind, he thought he was going to be helping people and he wanted to be able to cure people. And I think he genuinely, especially Charlotte, I think, like everyone said, I think that's who he thought he was going to have the biggest success with. But this is a Ryan Murphy show, and that can't happen. And so he has to get killed, viciously killed by her. Uh, and that scene broke my heart in a lot of ways. For Charlotte, too, actually. I really feel for Charlotte. And I thought that scene was heartbreaking when she wakes up and she's in the bathroom and covered in blood and she doesn't know what's happened. That was, oh my heart just broke for her. A lot of times it broke for her, really. But I think for him, he's also, you know, we find out he lost his kids. He got a divorce because he was so focused on helping people that were in Japanese internment camps here in the United States. If people don't remember that we did this too long ago, you know, so we probably wanted to do this with people who had AIDS. But anyway, we'll get into that with the normal heart next. But he wanted to help the people who'd been through that and help them with their trauma. But he was so wrapped up in that he forgot about his own family and wasn't there for his own family. And so he lost his family. And that was a very sad scene when you see that he can't even say goodbye to his child and his child's crying and saying, "Daddy." And that was very sad. So I think a lot of what he does after that is motivated by the fact that he wants to make up for the fact that he wasn't able to be there for his child and he wasn't able to accomplish what he wanted to accomplish. And he got punished for trying to help people. And the scene that you see when we're showing those flashbacks, the scene that you see right after that is when he goes to Sharon Stone's house to help her son. And he's changed his name and all this stuff. So it's like he's trying to make amends for that, you know. So he's a very complex character. And John he is such a good actor. This guy is incredible. He's so flippin' good. And he could have easily played this character really over the top. And while there are moments like with the acid and the cutting off the limbs and trying to reattach the other limbs, but that makes sense because he's on acid and he's been dosed with a high dose. So it makes sense. to be over the top there. But a lot of other scenes, he's not. He does a lot of subtle stuff. I love the scene with him and Edmund when Edmund is pretending that he's schizophrenic and and Finn is so good in that scene too. When he's like imaginary flies or whatever he's trying to catch there. And when he's talking about go watch that clip. He's so good in that. But watching Dr. Hanover in that too, and he's kind of like, you can tell he knows what he's doing. That's when you know he's actually a competent doctor, because he's like, you are playing me. I know you don't really have this, but if you want to actually be real with me and tell me what you really have, I will help you. I want to help you. So you can tell that he's not even really scared of him. You know, he's sitting here with a murderer and he's not really scared because I think he wants to help him. So I think there's a part of him that really just wanted to help people, but got caught up in other things and ended up becoming a drug addict. And once again, to the lighting, the scene where he's huffing the gas and the light changes to red is beautiful. Oh my God, that is such a beautifully done. So I think he's an interesting character. And I was kind of felt really bad that he got murdered. Honestly, I felt bad for him, even though he did horrible things. I still felt bad for him. Okay, so let's see. Time-wise, yes, we can also get this. So I just want to know quickly, one other character you want to give a shout out to, Chrissy? If there is any character you want to give a shout out to. Just kidding.
I mean, I guess Gwendolyn. We haven't really talked about her. She's interesting to me. I guess one of the scenes that sticks out to me is them in the oyster bar, and I'm like, that's kind of hot. Like, I'm not attracted to this lady whatsoever, but this is kind of hot. And nor would I ever eat that. Let me be very clear.
Oysters are gross. They're disgusting.
Right?
I say that they are so nasty.
She had me up until she said, it's like making love to the ocean. I was like,
right?
Right? I do not see the appeal in this.
Right.
No.
I was like,
I do not get
weird
an aphrodisiac because they're so gross.
Yeah, no, I would never eat that. But I'm like, like, this is kind of hot and I don't know why, but like, I felt really bad for her because she really loved her. And then when she takes her to the gay bar and she's freaks out and she's like, I don't understand. Like, I thought you wanted me back. And I don't know, it just broke my heart. But I don't know. She, like, at the end scene too with her, not the ending scene, I guess I should say, but when them in Mexico, like, she's so sweet and I like her. I don't know why I like her, but I like her.
I'm worried about her. She's gonna
Yes.
probably die.
Right. Yeah, I'm waiting
get
for
away
that.
from
That's what's
Right.
Ratchet Mildred and a cuckoo Mildred.
Right. Oh, that's true.
Oh, yeah,
That's
yeah.
a good point. That's a good point.
So Jen.
Oh, this was hard because even though I don't technically like the series, I like a lot of other things about it. Like it was hard to pick because by the end of it, I do like Betsy Bucket. I didn't really see the need of her being just, I get it, but like her just being a bitch at the beginning, but then her coming around at the end, I like once she got over her Dr. Hanover crush, she was much more tolerable. You know, Huck, Louise, and like Sharon Stone's character, Osgood, fucking goddamn, Sharon Stone is amazing. She was just a delight in this, but I had to go with Charlotte Wells, played by Sophie. Oh, didn't practice this.
I know.
Okanendo. Nope, that was wrong. But she does such a good fucking job, and I am just always a sucker for DID characters in TV shows. I'm really fascinated by the diagnosis itself. I've gone down like rabbit holes of watching YouTube rabbit holes of watching people that say they have DID. I don't know whether or not they do. That's not for me to say. And just kind of the controversy with the diagnosis itself and how it isn't completely accepted across the medical board. So Sophie does an amazing job portraying these different personalities, from being like the scared little girl to being like the really scary like dude that's gonna kill Hitler. Oh god, no, it's not just some dude. Who was it?
Oh my gosh. I should have put that in my notes. I can't believe I didn't put that in my
But
notes.
yeah, because she's like, I fought for you and I won. Like she was like the one of the boxers. Anyways, fuck.
Oh, she was the runner.
Mhm.
She was the one who ran in the race that yes, and that oh
Yes.
my gosh, how can I'm gonna look it up because that's
Okay.
gonna
Yeah, I can't. Oh God, because I'm watching it and I'm like, oh yeah, I'll totally remember that. Yeah. So I think she does. I think Sophie does a really great fucking job with that character. I love the Charlotte character. Like I said, I'm just a sucker for DID characters in television, and I know that they're not always. It's not accurate or necessarily even like a positive thing. But I am just it's just something that really just like pulls me in. If there's a character with DID, all of a sudden I am really paying attention. So that would be I think that'll have to be my shout out character. Loved her.
I love her. Jesse Owens was the athlete that was the runner. Is that who you're
Okay.
thinking? Is that who she was talking about? Because that was the athlete.
Okay. That's not the name that she was using. It started with
Yeah,
an
because
M.
he single-handedly was the one who crushed Hitler's myth of Aryan supremacy. Was credited with being single-handedly crushing Hitler's myth of
So,
Aryan supremacy.
Maybe it was I can't remember
But I
again.
know, yeah. Mhm.
But yeah, either way, it was a lot of fun to watch her go from the different personality types or whatever characters, and she just when we first meet Odine, just screaming at students at college campus. I love it.
Incredible.
It's one of my favorites.
Yeah. And then when she's playing just Charlotte, when she's just Charlotte,
Yes, and that
she's so oh my you just want to hug her and take care of her, and
sweet
she's
vulnerability
so damn
and
good.
yes,
She's so damn good, and I want to see more. Yeah, we'll get to what we want in season 2, but yeah, I love her. She's great. And then I wanted to point out a line really quick that I forgot to say. That's one of my favorite Dr. Hanover lines, and has to do with Charlotte when he starts breaking down after saying, "I think I really helped someone today. I really helped someone," and that's when that's really what he wants to do is help people. But yeah, so Susie, is there a character you want to shout out?
All right, so Jen took the bulk of them. But thankfully she didn't take this one, because this character was one that I was really kind of I'm a little bit excited to talk about, which is the opera singer. I think her name is Ingrid. And
yes,
props to Harriet. I think her name is Harriet Sampson Harris, who played her. And oh my gosh, like she we only get her for like a couple of episodes, and she could very easily be like a throwaway character, but just the speech that she gives Mildred when she's like, just leave me in there and cook me until the meat falls off. It's so tender it falls off my bones. She's like, because I can't deny this part of myself. Like all my life I denied this and I push it down. But after Miss I love how she puts it. She's like, well, after Miss Cartwright devoured me, I couldn't deny that part of myself any longer. And I was like, just let me free. And then when Hug helps them run away, and she's just like, why are you helping us? And Mildred goes, because you said I didn't get it, but I get it. And she just looks at her with a smile. And then like when you find out that he put them on a train so they can go away together, and I'm like, yes. In my head canon, they ran away to like the East Coast, and they're happy, like with a bed and breakfast in Maine. That's what happened.
I like that.
That's what happened. They have like live music on the weekends where Ingrid sings, and they're happy with this bed and breakfast together, and it's beautiful. Oh,
I love that.
Yeah, that's I think that's what happened.
You should write that
Yeah.
fanfic.
Yes.
I can't write, but I like to imagine.
I like that. Well, yeah, I was going to say Charlotte, but I had a feeling Charlotte would get taken because I love Charlotte, though. I'll just second that. I think Charlotte, could have very easily been way over the top. And I think she does such a good job of like kind of pulling it in and going over the top when it's needed and then pulling it back. And she's so heartbreaking to me. And I love that she ends up being the one to break Edmund out of there. I just think it's so interesting because you never ever saw them interact before that moment, really. So it's just kind of, it's an interesting moment. And
Well,
of course, she
'cause
thinks she's Dr. Hanover at the moment, but
That's-
still, I
yeah.
think it's just interesting. And it's interesting that she ends up thinking that and having that other personality there where she takes on who she killed. And yeah, so I thought that was interesting. But I mean, we've already kind of mentioned him a little bit, but I just want to give a shout out to Huck because Huck deserves to get out of this show and go somewhere happy and find a nice girl to settle down with, which sounds so cliche and trite, but seriously, he is so sweet and so kind and caring. And he doesn't want to do the stuff that they're doing when they're doing the baths and, with Nurse Bucket's line of, I will soak the sodomy right out of them when she says that. It's like, oh my gosh. And just the way she says that line, that's why I put it in my notes because it's just so ridiculous. She's over the top. When she goes and takes Edmund and she's standing in front of the barn and she's talking about how, well, you're a horrible, terrible, despicable person, but I guess you're a human being is pretty much what she's saying. So you're going to be here just watching everybody's face watch her. And as a Christian, I don't know. Anyway, the way she did that was just really funny. Yeah, because I want to say that Judy Davis is so good. I want to shout her out too. She's so flipping good in this movie. I love her anyway. She's an amazing actress. But yeah, Huck is just he's too sweet for Ryan Murphy. I'm like, no. I was so surprised that I mean, when he was, oh my God, when he was murdered, I almost didn't like Charlotte for a minute there because I'm like, I know it's not Charlotte, really. I know. I just, oh my God. I mean, it would have been fine if you killed Bucket. Why Huck? Huck is so sweet, and
Because he's sweet.
I know. Fuck you, my Ryan Murphy.
We should be
Yeah,
happy
not
we
like
got him as long as we did.
That's true. We made it to the last episode. I'm like, okay, this is a sweet guy, and he's in this kind of Ryan Murphy show. He's not in 911, so he's going to be killed. He's going to be murdered. He's going to be tortured. Something horrible is going to happen to him. I'm really glad, though. I was really worried when he told Mildred that he really liked her and wondering if they can, be together, which is such a sweet scene. And when she turns him down, and she's very sweet to him, I will say, and very gentle with him. I was so glad he didn't turn into some prick or some typical
nice guy
white man. Yeah, like a typical nice guy. I'm glad that didn't happen and that he actually was a genuinely nice guy. And that's why, of course, Ryan Murphy's like, I'm going to kill him. Say goodbye to him.
Yep. It's like, you couldn't kill nondescript nurse number 3. Like, that couldn't have been
I know.
the one on the chopping block.
To kill him
alone.
Huck needed better. Huck deserved better. So in my fantasy world, Huck didn't die. He survived.
Yeah.
And now he's off running like the local store in Maine where the bed and breakfast is.
Yeah.
And he's found a nice woman and they've settled down. And
yeah.
Yes, and he's not treated like crap. But yes. So that's where he is.
They run like the confectionery store in town
that
provides the treats for the bed and breakfast. That's
I love him.
Yeah.
Little Huck.
I like that.
So
and he's
horrible.
beloved by the community because he deserves it.
Yes. We love you, Huck. You deserved better.
Justice for Huck. Hashtag.
Yeah.
Okay, well, let's talk a little bit about the treatment of mental illness, which we've already kind of touched on in here. So they show lobotomies, which were a thing. They give them heat baths for people who are gay because they think this will somehow make you, I don't know. It's basically torture. They torture people. You do also, as I have said before, and I just want to talk about it again briefly here, but Mildred does have a scene in the beginning because she's trying to get this job. That's why she does this. This is so flippin' disgusting to me that this is how she does it to try and get a job. She convinces a guy to kill himself with the letter opener in Dr. Hanover's office and ends up blaming it on Nurse Bucket. And that's how she gets a job. And it's horrible. anyone who's going to work with anyone who's mentally ill should never be encouraging them to commit suicide. Anyway, sorry. So this is the way I want to say, this is the way people were treated. This is very realistic. I want to say this was very realistic. So I am not going to critique it in the way that I would normally critique something like this. As you know, I'm very harsh on this stuff because of my own personal stuff. So Chrissy, what are your thoughts about the way people are treated?
I kind of echo what you guys. It's hard for us in like modern society to imagine that. Like, I think back then that's what they were taught, as helping people. Like like a lot of these doctors thought this is what we need to do to make these people better. So it's hard to imagine what it would be like back then, I guess. Obviously I'm in the LGBTQ community, so I think a lot about things like how I try to put myself in that situation. Like, that would have been me. Like, that could have very well been me if I grew up then. And it's just like, it's just hard to even put myself there when in modern days, when that's just not okay, even though there's still a lot of things that are not okay now with how mental illness is. So it's just, I don't know. It's a hard one for me. I think a lot about his other stuff, like Asylum and stuff too. And it's all roped into the same thing. So
Yeah. So Jen?
Well, yeah, it's not good. It's the short answer. But again, as we've all said, it's the 40s. It's, fairly accurate and everything too, and how they treated people in these facilities. The thing so outside of just the overall torturous treatment kind of thing that they had going on during that time period, the other thing that bothers me is how nice this facility is. It's big, it's bright, it's colorful, it's well kept. Like glamorizing these old-timey mental health facilities when, and looking back, we're like, that's not really how it was. They didn't really, it's obviously, not having been alive then, it's hard to say that these people, that the nurses and stuff didn't actually care, but it's hard because of these treatments that they were given, between the lobotomies, the boilings, and God knows, electric shock, as we've seen in other, Asylum and other shows that take place in old-timey mental health facilities. So that's one thing that I don't really care for. It was just like, how pretty this place is. I get that it fits with the aesthetic of the series, which is very pretty, and I love the use of the colors and the dimming of the colors and everything, but I didn't care for that. I will say that one thing that stood out to me the first time I watched it, and then the second time, is with Charlotte's character, they quickly say, oh, she's got multiple personalities. And that was the medical term for it. It has since, we know now it is dissociative identity disorder. What I appreciated was, after the scene where, Charlotte comes in and she's all kind of like unhinged or whatever, and I think Hanover is like, oh yes, she has multiple personalities. And then in the next scene, when he's talking to, I think, Mildred, he just says something about like these dissociative disorders. So I do like how they were able to kind of sneak in the actual term, like the today's term for it. And I don't remember if they really continued to use multiple personality disorder within the series. If so, it wasn't a whole hell of a lot. So it's not like they got hung up on having to use all these old-timey, incorrect terms. Because I often wonder about shows that take place in the past in these kind of scenarios. It's like, is this just kind of like a tiny excuse for you to use these old sayings and terminologies or images that are not acceptable nowadays? What's the purpose? What are you showing us in the show or movie or whatever? So that's something I always kind of think about. But so yeah, obviously it's not great, but the one kind of term switch that they used with DID, I appreciated that. And then even at the end, when the girls are down in Mexico and Betsy comes to visit and she's talking about all the advancements because it's been 10 years now. It's like 1950. And she even says at that point, she's like, melancholia or depression, as they're calling it. So I like that they were able to kind of work in some of the more newer, acceptable terms for some of these, not all of them, but for some of them. So also, I just think melancholia is a pretty name, pretty girl's name. If we were to we're done having kids, but if I have $1, I might name her Melancholia. But yeah, and then obviously, the treatment of homosexuality as a disease, like, and the sad thing is that that's
still happens.
Yeah. So, but yeah, it's Ryan Murphy. It's 1940s. It could have been a hell of a lot worse. So It was not that bad, but still not that great.
So, Susie?
Oh, just quick comment. You could get a snail and name it Melancholia.
Oh my God.
And then you'll have to buy one of these.
And just like put it like on the habitat, like on the outside.
Oh my God. That's amazing. I love it.
Maison de Melancholia, you'll call it, that's what you call its little house. To me, like, okay, so I don't, like I've said before, we look at it from a modern perspective, seeing all the quote unquote treatments that they were doing back in the 1940s, and we see them as like horrible and in a way very barbaric as a way to treat like certain like diagnoses that they decided were really bad, like homosexuality, and it's like, but and as Jen was talking about like how clean everything looked and how pristine it all was, it kind of like clicked into me that even plays into like a little bit of the horror aspect a little bit more, that like all these horrific things are happening in such like a pristine, beautiful looking place. Because when Mildred first walks in there, it looks like it could be a hotel because everything is just so pretty and colorful and clean, and you don't get any idea what's kind of like going on behind the scenes, and you get kind of like a little bit of a first glimpse of that on when she walks into the room where the nurse is sleeping with a patient. I never understood if that was like a patient or another orderly. Yeah.
I don't know either.
Yeah. I didn't understand that. Yeah. She's sleeping with someone and she walks in, she's like, oh my God. And then just like steps back out. And like even that, like in that moment, like even before she opens that door, the lighting's all nice and pretty. But she opens the door and it's all like blue and kind of like gritty looking. And you go, oh, okay. And that kind of, that even also like that color story even plays into kind of like the horrors under the surface sort of thing.
That's a good
and
point.
It's just so interesting that's because like it's mentioned before, like you look at Asylum, and Asylum, like the color palette in Asylum is totally different. It's a lot more gray, a lot more dark, a lot more somber. So it makes sense that a lot of the more like horrific treatments, sort of speak, of the time are being done in that facility, because it's kind of like aesthetically wise, it's kind of little, you kind of expect that a little bit. But in regards to Ratched, like seeing how clean and nice everything looks, it kind of tricks your brain into going, oh, they must be like leading advancements and being very like humanitarian and very advanced and nice. And no, Hanover's drilling into a person's skull in an operating room. And you can also see like through the series how much they take care to like maintain that pristine image. Like when the hitman is killed, like right away Mildred is mopping the floor and making sure it all looks clean and nice, like nothing happened, like no one was traumatized like 5 minutes ago. Or like even the cleaning of oh, I forget his name. Was it Salvador in the first episode who killed himself with the water opener?
Salvador.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, like even then, like in his office, and he gets cleaned up right away as well. and you see, and again, that also plays into like very much like the horror aspect of like all these terrible things are happening, but they take such care to make it look as like nothing is wrong. We're all doing good. And there's even like also that juxtaposition of like there's a barn where you can do animal therapy and be amongst animals, and it's all really sweet and nice, as opposed to like boiling lesbians alive, and you're like, oh no, this no.
Mm-hmm.
It's just like seeing that difference in treatments is just so interesting, and how each one is approached and treated differently within the show.
Yeah, I have no problem with the aesthetic, I want to say, with the place looking as clean and nice. It may not be realistic, but I don't have a problem with it because I appreciate that if that's done, because I think it points out even clearer how harsh and disgusting the way we treated people with mental illnesses was. And I that's why I appreciate it, because it's like, okay, you're in this nice place, so it's going to put you where you think you're going to be going through nice things, and people are going to be treated nicely. So you've got this nice place, and then all of a sudden you've got a lobotomy. And this nice place, all of a sudden you got someone boiling in water. You got this nice place, all of a sudden you've got someone sitting there in a shower getting hosed down, violently hosed down. You got this nice place, then you go down into the cellar and you've got this jail that's really grimy and gross. And so having that, and having all the nurses look so pristine and pretty and put together in these nice green outfits and the color and everything, I appreciated that, because I think we say this is a long time away. I want to point something out. This is not that far away, okay? And stuff like this still happens. We still do not know how to ethically treat people who have mental illnesses. Speaking as someone who has a mental illness, we don't treat this the right way still, I think, for the vast majority of the world and country. And people still don't always treat it the best, and their shock treatment still happens. Shock treatment, though, has now become a little bit more accepted, and some people actually benefit from it, honestly. So that still happens. People are still locked away in these facilities forever and kind of forgotten about and then thrown out. And that's where there are a lot of homeless people that were in facilities, and facilities were shut down or closed, and they didn't know what to do with people. So they've messed people up already. People need help, and then they're tossed aside. That happened here in Colorado. A lot of the people you will see that are homeless in Colorado, they were in Fort Logan, which was the state mental hospital that they shut down. They shut down a bunch of mental facilities, and then all those people got shoved out, and nobody gave a shit about them, gave a crap about them, and they got thrown out on the streets. So even though this was a long time away, this isn't really, in a lot of respects.
Mhm.
So I don't want to excuse anything these people did. I want to say that I know it was a long time ago and they thought they were helping, but I don't want to excuse it, because as a human being, you should know when something is torture, and this is torture, and this is what they were doing, and this is what really happened. This stuff, go watch One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest. They weren't treated any better in One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest. That's the 60s. Go read up on the fact that, as I've mentioned before, in the 90s and late 80s, teenagers left and right were being thrown into facilities, into psychiatric facilities, because their parents didn't want to deal with being parents a lot of the time, or they were running away from home or different things, and they were thrown in there. So it still happens. But I will say, having been in a couple of facilities, I have never been in one that looks like this. But there are places that look like this. Those are the ones that you have to pay thousands upon thousands upon thousands of dollars. That's where all the celebrities and rich people go, is they go to those places because they can afford those places. I would love to be able to go to a place that looked like that, not the way they treated them. But so I appreciated that, just because I think it makes it all the more horrifying when you set it in a beautiful place, because you're expecting beauty and then you get horror. And so I actually appreciated that. That's one thing I actually did not have a problem with. And I think it's important for people to see this stuff. I do think at times when you're setting it in something that's a Ryan Murphy vehicle, and it's in this weird horror story type universe, it can get lost in there that this was horrific stuff that was actually done. I don't know if that makes sense, but it can get lost in there that this was done to people that weren't necessarily. I think he liked to paint every single person in here as being, for lack of a better phrase, cuckoo. And a lot of people that would have been put in weren't. So I think sometimes once drugs became more of a prevalent thing, once you were on those, that can turn people into more of a vegetable kind of state and like a zombie state. But so that's one thing is, but it's Ryan Murphy. So of course he's going to make every person seem a little bit out there. But for Ryan Murphy and for what the subject matter is, I actually don't have much of a critique of it because this is reality, sadly. And so I don't have as much. I'll be curious to see how this is handled in the subsequent seasons. If we get all 4, I don't even know if all 4 will happen. Even though it's Ryan Murphy, his shows don't always become hits. This one was really successful though. So
Well, and they never stop. It's like once he gets something that's like moderately successful, they're just like, here, have all the seasons. So I'm actually surprised that it hasn't been renewed for its 4th seasons.
oh yeah,
Like, you had a plan. Here you go.
I'm surprised they didn't start filming like right after.
Yeah.
Close.
Yeah. So for time, we're actually, since we talked a little bit already about representation, I don't think there's really much to talk about that anymore with this, but because of time, we're going to actually, if that's okay with everyone, unless someone has something burning they want to say about
I just
how Ryan Murphy does not handle representation well anyway, but sorry.
The one thing, I just hit myself in the mouth. The one thing that
are you okay? That's what that noise was. It was like someone dropped something.
Vincent D'Onofrio's character, the governor, right?
Oh
he's
my
like a
God.
piece of shit throughout the whole thing. And it's really easy to fucking hate him, right? And then out of nowhere, when Gwen and Mildred kind of, in a way, like kind of come out to him, now all of a sudden he's sympathetic to lesbians and gay rights, but he's still an asshole about it. Fuck off. He should have just been a straight asshole through the whole thing. The moment he was like, oh, my sister's like that and it's hard, and kind of like has this moment of like sympathy, pissed me off. I was like, why? Why is that the one thing he's going to be somewhat compassionate about while he watches a dude fucking fry and burn in front of him in an electric chair? But now God, you're fine.
Horrible.
It was, but he just was like, hey, this is a good time. I'm, setting a precedence, whatever. But it didn't, that's the one thing about like, within that was the one note I had under representation, was like, he did not represent bigoted assholes very well. And that was his one compassionate moment.
I totally didn't even see it. That's so funny, because I was just
God.
kind of like, whatever, you're a fucking asshole and you're always an asshole.
I mean, it was still very condescending, but to even like all of a sudden give that character just the tiniest bit of like understanding, I was like, why?
Because it's Ryan Murphy and he likes to do that.
Yeah. And I had read that originally Gwen was supposed to die, and Cynthia Nixon and Sarah Paulson convinced them to rewrite it and let her live, so it wasn't that kill the gays,
bury your gays
trope. So I am appreciative of that, but then it made the whole like Gwen's cancer diagnosis and then getting better felt really fucking out of place and weird. But good job, she lived to the end of season 1. Good luck season 2.
They were like, fine, we won't kill her yet.
Yeah.
We're gonna drag this out a little. We're gonna make Mildred watch her slowly die so it hurts more. And you're like,
yes.
Damn it, Ryan.
Yes. And then we'll have So, and it would be anyway. But sorry, just for time. But because that's our biggest critique of Ryan Murphy anyway, is he doesn't handle representation that well. So I think he's got a lot of internalized issues, frankly. Anyway, I mean, he's a lot better than Nip Tuck. I gotta say, I keep seeing him just progress. Nip Tuck was the worst, the most transphobic, homophobic show ever was Nip Tuck. So, you know, also just, oh my God, that show is horrible. Anyway, I'm glad I don't have to ever watch that again. We're not revisiting that show ever. I want to just say to everybody, never, ever am I putting myself through that again. I think I used to love that show somehow. Okay, so I want to know, since there is going to be a season 2, it's going to happen. I'm watching it. Finn's going to be in it. So I guess my Finn crew, I mean, they haven't watched American Crime Story, so anyway.
I watched damn near
What
every
kind of Finn
movie
crew is
in
this?
his.
I know, and you didn't watch flipping
filmography.
American Crime Story. Go make up for that.
It's not because of Finn, it's because of Ryan Murphy, and where I'm like, I need to kind of temper.
It's very not Ryan, like I told you, even though he's viciously murdered. It's not very Ryan Murphy-esque. I think it's very it's very well
Tame.
done. It's very good.
Okay.
And I think that's because he doesn't have as much involvement in it. He doesn't
You've
write
said that
any of
before,
it.
too.
He doesn't write any of it. So watch it. Anyway, so Chrissy, are you going to watch season 2? And when you do watch season 2, what do you want to see in season 2?
Yes, I will watch it. Let me put that out. I can't not watch it because I'm already into it now, and I don't like the way that it ended. I'm like, no, wait. So, yeah, I want to see how things turn out between Mildred and Edmund. That's a big thing for me. I want to see who kills who and what they do to each other. I don't know, and I'm curious what's gonna happen with Gwendolyn because I really think they're gonna kill her off. So. Yeah, I'll definitely watch it.
Jen?
Yeah, so you wrote, what do you want in season 2? And my note that I wrote down is, I don't. But after tonight, all right, fine. I'll watch it for Finn. And yeah, just to see how that storyline plays out. And then how else Ryan Murphy is going to piss me off and disappoint me by the end of that season. He starts off so strong. And then halfway through, it's just like, fuck it. I'm throw some shit at the wall. And okay, we're going to do that. And I fall for it every goddamn time. So yeah, I'll watch it. Just want it to end.
No alien babies, please, this time.
Oh, for fuck's sake, no alien babies. My lord. No insufferable
Choice.
teens.
No AO3 hunting for your next idea. I swear that's what he
Sure.
did. Susie?
Respectfully, in season 2, I would like to ask for my Bodacious Badonk on part of Finn. Thank you, costuming. I would be very grateful. Yeah. And also, can we just like dedicate a portion of season 2 to the adventures of Edmund, Charlotte, and Jazz Baby?
Yes, please.
We need some flashbacks. Let's
Yeah.
just have that
Of
all
them,
told in
like,
flashbacks.
oh, what's coming up? A diner. Oh, what do we want to get? I don't know. Do you want to get chicken nuggets? I don't know. Let's keep driving. See. I don't know. I'm in the mood for Wendy's. I don't know. Did Wendy's exist in the 40s?
I was first violin.
I was first violin.
Yes, I want to see this.
Man,
This
the
is what I
finest
want. I
affair.
don't want
Take
the
me to
others.
Olive Garden.
Yes.
Something. Jazz Baby's just like, where can I get some leeches? I need some for my arthritis.
I
That
love
just
her. I
cracked
love
me up
Louise.
so much.
Yeah.
That's what we
Oh,
want. We
yeah.
don't want Ratched back. She can just be in Mexico.
She can be in
Yes.
Mexico with Gwendolyn. They're drinking margaritas by the beach. It's great. Having fun. I want to see the Timbers trio just like haphazardly making their way across the country. They end up at the bed and breakfast in Maine. They stay there for a little bit, just hanging out. Like, how are you guys doing? Oh, nice, great. And then just leave again. And keep driving. Yeah. It'd be nice. They're like, let's go to Disney World. Yay!
Oh my god! And then they had the Mickey ears.
The Mickey ears. Edmund's like, I want a balloon. And they get a balloon.
Oh, we have like all the balloon animals.
Yes.
And, like walk around with like, this is a giraffe and a bunny.
Yeah, they're like, they get to him and they're like, what do you want? He goes, a horse. The guy's like, oh Jesus, okay.
And a pig. No chickens.
Okay. No chickens, please.
Traumatic memories
No
there.
chickens.
Oh my gosh. Yes.
I think he's a vegetarian.
Edmund?
Yeah.
No, he ate meat. Didn't he eat meat?
Well, okay, so maybe on
because
the
his
road trip
favorite.
now.
Well, because
yeah.
when Mildred makes him that meal, she said your favorite meal was chicken fried steak. Wasn't it chicken fried steak?
Salisbury steak.
Salisbury steak.
Oh.
Thank you.
Some
So,
That's
But maybe
barely
he's-
meat.
yeah, on the
Well, I
road
love
trip,
when
he's
he's-
living off of gummy bears and Mountain Dew.
I love when he's like, when the egg, the chicken's saying, you don't let anyone take your egg.
Oh,
This is your egg.
he just starts.
It was so sweet. Anyone else delivering that line, it might not have worked as well, but it was so funny. Don't let anyone take this egg from you. Look at this egg. It's so amazing.
That chicken was like, this is the treasure child.
Chicken was like,
have been
ew.
blessed by Finn Wittrock.
Ratched.
That's my. I love that you also had it in there. The badonkadonk. We got it.
Yes, the bodacious badonk. I would like to be blessed with some more. Thank you, costuming. Let's leave more into that. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I don't know how my panelists are going to react to this because it just popped in my head and it's the romantic in me, which is so weird to say that with this show. But imagine Edmund and Charlotte fall in love in this weird kind of love. Nobody wants it but me.
No. I like him better as like as a team.
No, I know you're right.
Yay.
You're right.
It's
You don't
like-
need that, but I'm just throwing it in
like,
there because I thought
what
it would be
if-
interesting.
Not Charlotte, but what if he has gets into a relationship with Undine? Not Charlotte,
No.
but there's something
Undine.
about that first chair violin flex that he just can't get enough of.
Well, yes. Now that you're saying that, yeah, I can see that. And then when Charlotte comes, he's like, kind of like, oh, this was
Ugh.
weird.
Like, oh,
like,
you're
oh,
too sensitive or something. I don't know.
We thought he was afraid of Dolly. He's definitely gonna be afraid of her.
Yeah, that's true.
That's a good
Yeah.
point.
He likes to be domed, so like he'll definitely go for OD.
Oh man, thanks.
Charlotte's
Susie,
just
for
like
putting
giving
that
the
in the
sisterly
chat.
advice. He's like, I think I pissed Odine off when I said it in like violins. And she goes, listen, you just like when you're driving the car, just switch the radio to classical. It's gonna be great. Buy her a little children's violin to play on the road. It'll be great.
See, we want this
love it.
instead
He
of.
goes
this
on a
is what I
heist
want.
to steal a violin
Yes.
for her.
This is never gonna happen. That's just so
No.
sad.
Oh, oh.
Yeah, I I want this. I would rather see the road trip, even if we just do like half a season, just the road trip, and then they end up there, whatever.
Yeah, why not?
Yeah, I'm pretty positive Edmund's gonna die. He's gonna be murdered. I'm positive. I will be shocked if he survives the second season. I'll be shocked if he survives the whole season. I want him to though, because I think he's a lot more interesting than some of the other characters necessarily. I mean, I like a lot of the characters, but I want him and his trio. I want them to be having fun, creating mischief. Having fun. He murdered all these nurses.
He's just like, wait, guys, I see a nursing school up ahead.
Just a second.
Pit stop.
I'll be right
Scurries
back.
out of the car and then comes back in and Jasmine's like, Jesus, change your clothes. You're gonna get us caught. And just like throws stuff at him. Like change in this truck stop bathroom and let's get going.
I really want to know how that I really want to see in season 2 a flashback of how it happened that Jazz Baby even came with them. That
How-
was like
like
the
how-
most out
yeah,
of the blue
that
thing.
was
So how did
surprising.
that happen?
Like, how did she? They were just
I
like,
want to know
we
when
need,
that happened.
Did they steal her car? Was that why or something? Was she was like,
she
if you're
just
taking the
hates
car, you're taking me because I'm ready for adventure.
Maybe
So
she just hates Mildred,
I'm your
I don't know. She
unwanted
put out an
luggage.
ad like, "Hey, starting a Hate Mildred Ratched Club. Who's in?" And like Odine answered, and then was like, "Yo, I got this club." She goes bust
Yo.
out Edmund. They go pick up Louise because that's who obviously sold out Mildred as to being in Mexico and stuff. Because at first I was like, "Oh, who
Betsy
was
like,
it?"
oh, I'm gonna go down to Mexico to visit a friend.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Thank
but I
you,
just want
Jazzy.
more of their adventures. I want more of their
Yeah.
adventures,
I
and
want to see their
yeah.
hijinks.
yeah,
Yes.
and then that's all. Because I don't know. I will watch it because Finn's in it, and unlike the rest of my Finn crew, I actually will watch everything Finn does, especially when he's an important character and he's really good in it. He's an important character and he's really good in American Crime Story. I'm just saying.
Wait, is he in American Crime Story, and is he really good in it and an important character?
What I just said, Jen.
Huh,
I
I hadn't
know.
heard that before.
So next time on the Finn crew, when we get together next time on the Finn crew, like for a show, we should do that. It's gonna be our new show. Oh my gosh, I'm so tempted that we'll do episodes like that every once in a while. Just random live streams, random episodes of just the Finn crew getting together to talk about Finn. When Green Lantern comes on, we'll have to do something with that. And
Yo, I'm gonna be
Mhm.
insufferable. In skin tight like spandex, if it's IRL, and be like, yes, thank you again, costuming for the
Yeah, I'm looking forward to
we
that one.
respect
for this
you
perfect
for your
speech.
talent.
We're
your butt.
looking respectfully. Just want to put that out there, respectfully, sir. Respectfully.
I respect that ass.
God bless him.
That's America's ass right there.
For real. When Green Lantern comes out, we'll just all like come to a consensus and just be like, yep, this is the real America's ass now. Thank you.
Yes, and I'm more excited about some of the movies he has coming out, but I'm definitely going to watch Green Lantern because, unlike my panelists, I'm going to say it again.
What is this? A knife?
I can understand not watching Halloween Town High, but
listen, that movie was a treasure.
I watched it.
I definitely watched that too. So
No.
I didn't finish it, so I guess I get my Finn.
Of him being thrust upon our lives, and I'm very grateful for that.
He's so adorable in that. And talk about stalking. There's like the cafeteria scene, and he just jumps out of nowhere, and he's like, "Hey, girl!" I was like, was he just fucking standing over there waiting by the train?
He was like, "I'm gonna practice for Edmund this early on." Like in the future, I was told I was gonna get a role. It came to me in a dream, and I'm gonna prepare now.
It still kills me that he got accepted to Juilliard and turned it down to go do a show that he got, like it was like CSI. He got a part in one of those shows, and then he got accepted again to Juilliard. So just anyone who, all the people that tease me about how much I love Finn Wittrock and joke about, his name and all that stuff. He's an amazing actor, and yes, we are talking about his body.
Juilliard twice.
Yes,
your faith could never. Just saying to all the naysayers.
Your faith could never. Yes, he's an amazing actor.
And all the stage work he's done.
I want to see him on stage so bad.
That'd be great.
Mm-hmm. It's like wasn't he doing stage work before like on-screen acting? Like that's kind of how he got found for. Why am I doing this for screen acting? Stage?
Screen is
screen. You're pointing to the screen behind you.
Yeah, the TV is right there.
Yeah, that's
you're like, this is why.
So over there. Oh my Lord. Yeah.
The stage. And then he went to the screen.
Yes, right now we're on the YouTube stage. Oops. I'm gonna
Yes.
settle down now.
You could perform your own play just for us, Finn. Your own one-man play for the Finn crew.
That'd be great.
Leave
It could be a
religion
play of
at
your
the door.
choice. Yeah, you can do what Cher did, like when she did West Side Story and she played all the parts. You can do that as well. You know, just pick a play all the parts. That'd be great. Yes,
Mhm.
a lot
Yes,
of roses thrown at you. Awesome.
any
Mhm.
play you
And-
want.
Yeah.
Play or musical of your choice.
He said he can't sing, so I don't know if that's
I don't care. I'll listen to him croon. Yeah, we'll have Patrick Wilson like just doing the singing backstage or on stage, whichever.
That was random after
He'll just be on stage with a guitar singing Elvis songs.
Oh yes, from
Yeah, see?
from the Conjuring days.
That'll be great.
Good
It'll be great.
callback there.
Yeah.
Okay, we
I
went
got
over
you.
the
Listen to
2-hour
the
mark
Conjuring
because we,
episode.
yeah. We went over the
It's
2-hour
for the
mark because
pod.
we started
The podcast
because
is
it's
down.
Finn.
Don't mind me just doing an undercover ad.
I'm so going to cut a lot of not a lot of this out. I mean, I'm going to cut like when I do the video thing. Yeah, it's going to be fun sharing these clips.
Oh, I can't wait. Looking forward to it.
Great time.
I'm like, people, you're missing a great. I think this was a great live stream, frankly.
Yeah.
This was a hootenanny. A
A hoot and a
hootenanny.
nanny. Yep.
Yep.
Yeah, and we have crowned a new America's ass. So that's all.
Mhm.
I think we can all agree. Everybody knows I'm not a big Captain America fan or Chris Evans fan. So sorry.
That's weird.
Yeah.
But
When he
okay.
plays an asshole, he
Sorry.
does it
I
well.
think
I'm
he's
just
so
gonna say
flippin'
that.
boring. Captain
Yeah.
America is so boring. Sorry, that's boring.
No, you're right.
Anyways,
You're right. You
Erin.
can't say that. You can't say
Yeah.
it around other people. But I feel like it's pretty safe to declare here. You right.
Yeah, see,
I'm
Susie,
not going to dispute.
this is the time I lose my podcast brain. Time. It's okay. She hasn't watched American Crime Story, so anyway.
I haven't.
So I'm assigning homework to my panelists. You have to watch
Okay.
it.
Was
Let me
that
write
on
this
like
down.
was that on the bingo card chastising us for not watching?
No.
Chastising.
Could have been.
Shaming
was
the
on the
public
list.
shaming.
I just can't believe it. Oh
Just do
man.
that. Everybody boo. Boo.
Here. That's all during Chris has to say to you.
Oh, but nice golden
cute.
balls.
Yeah.
Ooh, the balls.
Look
are
at all the
touching.
men that look
Oh,
exactly the same.
look, our
Oh,
types.
oh.
I know.
Types.
So
God, it's like there's very little
My
difference.
troubled brunettes.
Really.
Yep. As my go back and listen to our celebrity conspiracy theories episode. I love that episode so
Yep.
damn much. I have those pictures in the show notes so you can pull them up. I'm talking about my Ryan Murphy conspiracy, my birthday conspiracy. I still can't believe I created a spreadsheet and spent so much time.
You were ready. You were like, this is like, it was stuck in your brain. You were like, I need to get this out. People need to know. And now, thanks to you, the people
Need to know
know.
the truth.
Now we can be aware of any hijinks Ryan tries to sneak past us.
Yes. Okay. Well, this has been a lot of fun. And I'm sad. If people go back and watch this. Go back and watch this. Like you can watch this clip to go back and watch this.
Do so now.
Go back. No, I'm going to be sharing this a lot. So anyway, we'll go around and people can say where they can be found if you want to be found. So Chrissy, I couldn't tag you in anything when I was promoting this. I just said Chrissy, our newest member, Chrissy.
Yeah, I'm boring. All I have is
you're not
Facebook,
boring.
so I'm the boring one. Yes, all I have is Facebook. That's all I got.
Okay, well, and remember, what's your homework?
All right. Okay. Yes, I could do that.
Jen from I almost I don't know what I was gonna say. Sorry. The podcast Brain Twin. Jen, where can they find you and your amazing podcast where she does have an episode that I'm on talking all about Finn Wittrock. So if you want to hear us gush about Finn even for 2 hours,
Mhm.
just Finn.
Just Finn.
Yep. Where
Just
can
Finn.
they find you?
So you can follow the Me podcast on Twitter at Streaming Bubble, and the podcast itself can be found on a podcast player near you. So like all the places, but Pandora.
I was waiting for that. I'm like, is she
I
gonna
know.
say Pandora? I can't
Slither.
wait for the day you say, guess what, guys? I'm on Pandora
Holy
now.
shit! That'll be a big day.
You'd be like, open the chest. I'm in now.
I made it.
So, Susie, where can they find you?
Well, I can be found on the tweets at oh god, there's my username right there. You can find for a second I just blanked and I was like, oh, what is my handle? You can find me on Twitter at SusieQ_SC, and there's like an additional underscore for my Instagram. My dog's Instagram is at Benny_Pelosita, so you can find that little menace there.
Awesome. And this is Erin. You can follow me on Twitter at eAprilBeauty. The E and the A and the B are capitalized. Be sure to like the show on Facebook at facebook.com/itsafandom_thing_pod. On Twitter at fandomthingpod. No it's in that one. On Instagram at itsafandom_thing_pod. On TikTok at itsafandom_thing_pod. Go visit our beautiful, amazing website that the fifth member of the Finn crew, Erin A, came up with. It designed. It really, I still can't get over how amazing it is. So go there. It's a fandomthingpod.com. And if you would like to be an interview guest on the show, Finn, I'm calling to you. I want you on this show. I am a really good interviewer. Honestly, I would be very professional. I will not talk about your ass. I promise.
No, seriously, Finn, she is
I
the
promise.
freaking best. You will
Mhm.
not find better. She's amazing.
Thank
Just do it.
And also, come on, Magnolia. We can talk about Magnolia for a few hours. We can talk about frogs falling from the sky. I would love to have you on that show. So, we can even record it way before November. Whatever. I'll work with your schedule. So, reach out. I'm serious. So, reach out via the contact us button on our website. I know it works because we've had several people contact us through there. So reach out there. Or if you want to just go ahead and email us directly, you can email us at itsafandom_thing_pod@gmail.com. You can DM us, whatever you want to do. So yeah, so reach out that way. And I got a DM from a new listener who found us through Liberty Diner Dish. So thank you so much for listening and for giving feedback, because as a podcaster, an indie podcaster, I got to say, this is so much work. I don't think anybody realizes how hard this is. I can't believe I'm letting this episode go this long. Anyway, we got in our Finn kick. So I blame you, Finn. I love you, but I blame you. But anyway, it's so hard. So when you reach out to indie podcasters and you let them know that you appreciate what they're doing and that you like what they're doing, I can't even begin to tell you how much that means to us. So if you like an indie podcast, you're listening to it, you don't know how to show your love and support, you don't have money to become a Patreon supporter, the best thing you can do is rate and review. Is the number one best thing. Second best thing you can do is reach out to us. We like hearing from you. I do. I like hearing that stuff. I like hearing, that you enjoyed something, that you have suggestions. So Bridget, shout out to you. I've had other people that have done that. So thank you so much for doing that. Excuse me. Because this is a hard thing. It's a job and it's flippin' difficult at times and it feels very lonely and it can feel like why are you doing it? So thank you. Okay, so I just wanted to shout that out. So yes. So on our next episode, our next Ryan Murphy episode, we're going to be talking about something that I have I don't even know if I have critiques of this movie because I think it is amazing. Jen is going to be back and we're going to be talking about The Normal Heart. And speaking of Liberty Diner Dish, Ishelle from Liberty Diner Dish will be on that one. I'm so excited. Finn Wittrock is in this one too. Very, 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 very briefly, but he's so good.
Mhm.
And the lovely Matt Bomer.
Oh,
Lovely, amazing Matt Bomer. I love
God.
Matt Bomer
He's
as
like-
much as I love Finn.
He's like the most beautiful man on the planet. He
Yes,
is
and yet you haven't watched
ridiculously,
White Collar.
ridiculously good looking. Oh, calm down. And I will not have watched American Crime Story by the time we do Normal Heart.
The besmirching.
Sorry.
Y'all.
Love you. Matt Bomer. And Aaron.
Wow.
Ooh.
Wow. Okay. Well, Jen may return to this podcast. I don't know, but yes, that'll be fun. I'm really, really looking forward to that. Next weekend, we will be doing 2 live streams. So we were going to just do 911. But since Susie's the only one joining me to watch Hollywood, she's the only one who decided to watch this one.
What is up, y'all? Why
I
is
know.
everyone
I'm
slacking?
rewatching
Why?
I know. This is Ryan Murphy kind of light. I don't know.
It
Kind of,
is-
not
it is
really.
like, a scotch.
Let's go.
Yeah. And you'll hear me gush about Darren Criss. So I know you've missed me gushing about Darren Criss, everybody. So you will get to hear me gush about Darren Criss and others. So I'm not positive when both of those are going to be. So just stay tuned on our social media. But we are also going to be talking about 911 live. As I've said, I'm very pissed that I love this show. I am so angry about this. I can't even begin to tell you how angry I am that I
got
actually
her.
like this show. I'm so mad about this. This show is so flippin' cheesy and corny, and the lines, and it just, yeah. Anyway,
So cheesy you could grill it.
so that'll be Susie and Meg and Carla, who are partially to blame for me liking this show. So
You're
yeah,
welcome.
so until next time, go watch American Crime Story.
Y'all.
And then you can really call yourself a Finn Wittrock fan.
Oh. Them's fighting words.
Well,
Oof. Where are my boxing gloves?
anyway, so until next time, remember, it's a fandom thing. Black Lives Matter and stop Asian hate. And thank you to those who I saw people popping in and watching. Thank you. And thank you to anyone who watches later. Really appreciate it. So remember, if you are a Finn Wittrock fan, these look amazing on mugs. I have seen them on a mug. It's amazing. So go pick some of this stuff up at our Redbubble store. If you're a snail fan,
Yep.
if you were a
love
fan of
snails.
Deepwater, go watch that. I mean, no, I don't
No,
recommend.
no, don't. I would
Yeah.
not subject any human to that movie. Not if I like them.
So thank you and have a good night.